Hello YouTubers, my name is Chris and welcome to week 3 in the 50 books for 2019 series. This week I'm excited to announce we are reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. Now let's dive in. Now if you're not aware of Eckhart Tolle, he's pretty much the Beyonce of the spiritual development world. Influential and widely recognised thanks to his appearances on Oprah a few years ago. Now Eckhart Tolle's work has been a huge influence on millions of people around the world. I think it's fair to say that Tolle is one of the most revered spiritual teachers the West has produced in a generation. Now I'm going to apologise in advance for the language I use in this video. I'm not going to start swearing at you, but some of the words I use may seem a little bit esoteric if you haven't read Tolle before. One thing I've learned from reading Eckhart's work is that I may not understand it all at once, and that's okay. Sometimes the beauty comes in understanding the content at a later date. But if I had to pin down Eckhart's main talking point, I would say that he is a proponent of the art of being. Now what do I mean when I say being? Being is a state of consciousness which does not identify with thoughts and emotions, meaning we no longer take our incessant stream of thinking to be ourselves. We recognise that as fallacy. If I haven't lost you already, congratulations. I would guess that Eckhart Tolle's work may work for you. Now Tolle's work is incredibly powerful, and I would encourage you, if anything you hear today resonates with you, to go out and check out some of his work. The best way to describe Eckhart's work is to tell you what I've learned from him as a direct result of reading his work. The present moment in its entirety is the basis for human experience. It's the birthplace of all action. Now, coming back to the present moment is a practice that recognises awareness, and awareness is the letting go of mental formations and the understanding that the emotions are not the self. When we can simply be in this moment, when we say yes to the present moment, we come to realise the spiritual dimension within us. Now this has nothing to do with a belief system, a religion or a dogma. It is simply an arising of awareness. Now I want to read you a small passage from A New Earth, and I ask you to bear with me. I want you to get a feel for the way that Eckhart writes. I don't want this video to just be me interpreting Tolle for you. I also want you to get stuck in. So this is from a chapter entitled The Core of the Ego. This is Eckhart Tolle on the topic of spiritual realization. Spiritual realization is to see clearly that what I perceive, experience, think or feel is ultimately not who I am, that I cannot find myself in all those things that continuously pass away. Now I think what Eckhart is alluding to is all those things we feel as integral parts of our life. Now whether that be the nice house or the fancy car or the beautiful relationship, all those things will ultimately pass away. And as Eckhart says, you cannot be that which passes away, so what is left? According to Eckhart, what remains is the light of consciousness, in which we see perceptions, experiences, thoughts and feelings come and go. Now I believe that Eckhart's work may seem at best a little esoteric and maybe at worst a little woo-woo, but to dismiss this man's work so quickly is to miss the sheer power of the words. Eckhart's work has been transformative in my own life, and I've been able to trace back some fortuitous events that seem to begin with the reading of Eckhart Tolle's work. Now the book in essence is about spiritual enlightenment. Eckhart aims to provide insight into how to create a sense of awareness from within. It's only once this awareness arises within that you can recognise the unconscious patterns that we've been operating under. No matter what life situation you are in, whether you're homeless, you have no money, your wife or husband has left you, your physical body is no longer working, all of these situations have one thing in common. They can either define you or you can define them. If you are consciously aware, you can be in any life situation, still be radiantly happy. I've met homeless people that are more joyous than people with jobs and homes and families. Certain people, no matter what happens to them, come to the realization that identification with form is the road to suffering. Letting go of that identification is the road to happiness, fulfillment and life eternal. Now, this book is a transformative agent. Under the correct conditions, a reaction between yourself and the material is bound to happen. Eckhart's work is not interested in preaching a gospel, converting you to a belief system or any such thing. In fact, it's Eckhart's goal to liberate you from your belief systems, to see you go past the needs for identification with form. Now, what is identification with form? Thought forms, for example, are something that appear in consciousness. So ideas, opinions, emotions, feelings, All of these are forms the ego identifies with. That is to say, it takes them as a rule or part of the story of yourself. The story of yourself is a mind-made projection of who you are. It is a collection of your stories about yourself, your attitudes towards the world. It is basically a mental projection. Eckhart's message is that we are not the thoughts and emotions that arise, we are the awareness which perceives them. So, what to do with this? Nothing. There is nothing to do, only to be. Only through being can you become to know your true nature, and that's the core of Tolle's work. Simply an awareness that I am not my thoughts and emotions, I am the awareness that perceives them. Well, that's it for this week. Join us next week when we'll be taking a look at Dr. Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. Thanks for watching, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
You didn't do your catchphrase.
What?
You do all those things that YouTubers do.
Do all the things that you do on the YouTube.
You've got to do that. That's your tagline. That's your catchphrase.